mask up, Canada. Dust off your winter boots, your touque. Is that how you say that? The
touque, yeah.
Your touque and your mask, because you're going to need all of those things. The Canadian health minister also says that it's time to do that. She is the same person who has said that she's all for arrests and ankle bracelets for pandemic rule breakers, and it's better to apologize later. Do the severe thing and apologize later. Like, oops, sorry we arrested you for not wearing a mask. We shouldn't have done that. But...
So, so Canada's telling everyone, mask up or you could face arrest.
Well, we saw arrests during the Canadian trucker envoy for protests of vaccine requirements. So, Canadians didn't have civil rights that the rest of us envied. Let's just put it that way. Do you think that this time around they will? What are the odds? Let's put some odds on it, right? If you're betting who is going to be the next free during the next round of COVID, Canada's not at top of the list. Not even close, right? No one envies Canada's laws, I would say. Well, if you do, let me know why. Why do you envy Canada's laws? Okay, well, go ahead.
I was going to say, you know what I would do? I would start a massive campaign, and I would buy a ton of Guy Fawkes masks and have everybody buy them that was on board and wear those as our masks.
What is that, like a costume mask?
For the V from Vendetta. Am I saying it V from?
V for Vendetta.
V for Vendetta.
V for Vendetta.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's one thing you could do.
That's civil. Yeah, you have like an army of Guy Fawkes walking around.
All right, well, take a look at this public health briefing in Canada this week. They are all in masks. And here is Canada's chief public health officer. It's their Fauci, we'll say. This is Dr. Theresa Tam saying, everyone should be ready to look like this. Watch.
Just as a follow-up, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just wanted to take note. You're all masking, which is lovely to see, of course. But most government ministers are not now. Most MPs are not. Most people on the street are not masking. Is there any specific guidance on that going forward at this point?
Yeah, it's Theresa Tam. So it is a layer of protection. We hope people have developed the habit to be able to use masks as needed during the respiratory virus season, not just for COVID, but for all the other respiratory pathogens that will be transmitted around this time. So I do think now is the time to get your masks ready if you don't already have them. In our own particular context, we certainly in our area, there's been an uptick in some of the COVID-19 indicators. For me personally, there have been cases around, even my work colleagues. So that's one of the reasons why we are wearing masks today.
Okay, so
I love
some follow-up
by
questions. The way. Yeah. Oh, it's so lovely that you're all in masks.
That reporter,
that's nice fall fashion.
Yeah. Hi. This is Clayton from the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. I just want to say it's lovely. You guys are all masked up again. I hope you guys are all vaxxed. It's great to see. Now I have a question. Why are other people not masked up? Really? Anyway, go ahead.
Like you really like your trench coat.
Yeah, I was going to say she really committed wearing that jacket that looks like virus particles.
Right.
Right.
It's pandemic chic is what we will call that. Okay. Now, it should be noted that Dr. Theresa Tam is a World Health Organization veteran, and she still serves on WHO committees. She is, incidentally, on the monkeypox committee, in case you did not know that. This is the same person who said that people should be arrested if they broke pandemic rules or even use ankle bracelets. Now, to be clear, she didn't say this about COVID. She said this in 2010 about a possible monkeypox outbreak. But to be sure, I had opinions 12 years ago that I don't have anymore. But if I were Canadians, I would really want to make sure that she doesn't still think this is appropriate.
If there are people who are non-compliant, there are definitely laws and public health powers that can quarantine people in mandatory settings. It's potential you could track people, put bracelets on their arms, have police and other setups to ensure quarantine is undertaken.
Yeah, put ankle bracelets.
No, she said on their arms.
Oh, arms, like the concentration camps.
To be preemptive and precautionary and take the heat of people thinking you might be overreactionary, get ahead of the curve, and then think about whether you've overreacted later. But it's such a serious situation that I think decisive early action is the key.
Well, we realize Adolf acted,
Yeah.
Police
Why not just shoot the people and then apologize later?
Proof of vaccination. Those who refuse to cooperate are taken away to temporary detentions.
Oh yeah, set up police checkpoints, and if your bracelet doesn't comply with the order, you'll be taken to a prison. You'll be hauled off. That's
she
what they
says
want.
Overreaction is the key, and it's better to just overreact and then say you're sorry later if it turned out to be, not the right thing to do. Sorry. Like Philip just said, well, what if we just shoot him? Like, what if that happens? Oh, sorry, you weren't wearing a mask. But now, again, she didn't actually say this about COVID. She said this in 2010. I, again, would want to be damn sure she doesn't feel that way now. She didn't do that much better, though, during the COVID pandemic. This was her advice to people who were lucky enough to have a sex life during the pandemic. She said, stop kissing and wear a mask while having sex to prevent COVID transmission.
Yeah,
no analysis of that.
Yeah, don't worry about the STD or anything else.
Masks are the new condoms.
Don't worry about any of the bodily fluids. That has nothing. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Just make sure you're wearing a mask. Stop kissing people.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, these are the people in charge.
Right. Now, I could launch into many studies about the effectiveness of masks. We've covered that before. I could show you the dangers of masking. We've covered that in depth too. I think what's worth seeing here is that some people don't want to look at that data and still think masks are a virtuous thing to do, and they applaud it. For instance, this tweet of @MeetJess saying this is how it should be. Well, she said this is how should be.
So basically saying all these people being masked. Let me read it. Dr. Theresa Tam and the entire panel masked for the vaccine briefing. This is how it should be.
This is how should be.
Well,
but yes,
Remember when I sent you guys that video of my Twitter feed? Go back to that image and look at that. How many shares and how many likes and stuff that post has from an unverified person? Like, it's like they're elevating that message on Twitter big time.
Yes, David believes, because he does not follow very many pro-maskers, that pro-mask tweets are being elevated because he sees them in his feed in a disproportionate way than he really would have otherwise seen. And so...
Elon?
Yeah.
Want to answer to that? I'd be curious about that.
This kind of thing, right? Saying like, yes, we think this is awesome that they're masking. We all should be masking too. She wants that @MeetJess, right? So, some people are super ready to rock this mask touque look coming out to a Canadian near you this fall. And you may think, whatever, let those people wear masks if you want to. But given how few choices Canadians were given during the pandemic, how long do you think it will be optional?
Right, until it's mandated. And when you go into any building or make public transportation or anything, it's going to be mandated.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you literally have the FDA. I'm just like a side message here because I think it's maybe related. The FDA just comes out now and says that the common cold over-the-counter decongestants don't work.
I mean, work to what? To put you to sleep?
I mean, they're like, hey, so these don't work now. The timing of all of this is pretty remarkable, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Like, wow, the FDA is weighing in and saying something doesn't work. When will they weigh in and say something else doesn't work, like the vaccines? Right.
And yet, Peter McCullough gets in trouble for saying that nasal spray is a good idea, like the natural saline solution.
Yeah.
So... Yeah.
Okay, so now FDA is laying the groundwork. The timing of it is perfect, right? Just as we're about to start getting like new vaccine mandates or COVID mandates, masking mandates, the FDA is basically saying, hey, those like over-the-counter stuff, stop using that. Stop using it. It doesn't work.
Okay.
Look.
It's almost as if Canada's the testing ground, because it's like they test everything in Canada, and then all these people are like, that's going to come here, that's going to come here. And then they paint those people as conspiracy theorists, so they've ruined their reputations. And then it comes here, and nobody says anything like, well, they were right, but next.
Yeah, well, because it's already, it's a limited hangout, right? You already sort of get this sort of limited release of this information where you get to paint these people a certain way, and then it comes here, and
I just don't understand this shared assumption that masks work or are healthy.
Like, why wouldn't she?
For me, that ship has sailed, right?
The data is in. Yeah,
the data is pretty incontrovertible, and so I don't know why we're swallowing this without any, like, that reporter says that this is lovely to see masking. The reporter should ask questions about data showing that masks don't prevent the transmission, not just of COVID, but other things. And they're not. So again, we'll see how free Canada remains. I think if we were to make a list of the countries that had the least amount of freedom in the world during the pandemic, Canada would be at the top. And that's, to me, an undesirable list to be on.
Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, trying to share the stories that the mainstream media will not cover. You should also come over and join our community of Redacted Rebels over at redacted.inc. That's our private locals community where we can share exclusive content that we simply cannot share here on YouTube. Come over and join the rebellion together right now by going to redacted.inc. We'll see you next time.